How do you... Technology?
I know.
What?
Ladies and gentlemen, we're trying to figure this out.
All right, on the count of 3, everyone, pop that shirt off.
And drop it like it's hot.
You're listening to the Funkatronic Rex podcast, where a few self-proclaimed piratical nerds running a friendly local game store discuss the board, card, and tabletop gaming community they love and serve. We tend to be the goofy, gregarious, and non-grindy gaming geeks of the community. Welcome. Folks, thank you so much for joining us once again on the Funkatronic Rex Games and More podcast. I am Court. I am one of your co-hosts here. I'm so thankful to be here. So thankful you guys are listening. On my right, I've got...
I'm Mike.
A.K.A. Lord Vader.
Lord Vader, to the right of Dracula.
Yes.
Because that's what happens when you roll hot D20s.
I was so excited to land that.
He landed that, and I knew, I'm going to be in for some Red Bull debt because
Yes.
I am bad at this game. If you're just catching up, Dracula, to my left, has to refer to me as Lord Vader for the rest of the year. And now I have to refer to him as Dracula for the rest of the year. And when we fail, we owe each other a Red Bull.
Yeah.
And I'm like 4 down right now.
Which can just cancel out at some point.
They could cancel out. So I'm hoping you really screw up and call me Mike a couple times.
It probably will happen. So.
But yeah, that's me.
Yep, we got the Funk crew here, and then across from me, we have a special guest.
Oh, that's me.
That's you.
That's me. That was the cue card.
Ready?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Chris. Who are you?
That's an excellent question. Chris, I've been coming to this store since probably day -1.
Yeah. Chris is a long-time family friend.
I didn't know that you were here
ages
that
ago.
long. Okay, cool.
Like right when you started coming up with the idea of the store and coming out, I'm like, oh my God. Now, the unfortunate thing is, just had a kid.
Wait,
and then
maybe you want to rephrase that.
Well, no, so we just started. Mike and I. The unfortunate thing is, Mike and I just had a kid. No, wait. So I say the wife and I just had a kid, and we're like, Mike's like, I'm going to open up a game store, and I'm like, sorry, babe, I gotta go. I gotta go running. Okay. And she's like, you will not leave me. So
and there you go.
And there we go. So I've been here since day -1.
It's unfortunate to be here, is what you're saying.
It is. It is so unfortunate to be here. I love you guys so much. I gotta go.
And wait, we have to introduce our special guest. Yeah, the disembodied voice. Reaching through time and space. This is us at our technological climax right now.
Oh,
is
the epoch
reaching the epoch. Thank you. Good choice of words. Reaching through time and space to a special guest.
I wanted it. I asked for it. I got it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark from Lorehammer.
Well, sorry to disappoint. It's just Trevor Buzak.
Trevor Buzak.
No, thank you guys. Thank you guys for the invite. I love hanging out with a bunch of nerds. And much like you, Chris, it's like, hey, how did you get into the hobby? Like, man, was I born into it? Was it born for me? I don't know, but it's...
Like, you just wake up one day and you're like, I'm rolling dice and playing with little guys. And you're like, how did...
Yeah,
all is good in the world. I used to remember
being outside, but in the basement.
That's
we
overrated.
Don't need that.
Yeah, it's overrated.
Well,
no, thank you guys for having me.
Mark, thank you so much for being here. It's a huge blessing and an honor to have you. Just briefly, we've got Dad Talk here a little bit, and you are also in the mix of
You're on
us
the cusp,
three
right?
to be a father as well.
Yeah, no, it's actually crazy. I think literally an hour before we sat down, my wife got her first contraction. So pregnancy is a long 24-hour thing, so we got time. So don't worry.
Well,
she's in the other room, so it's all good.
Okay.
But yeah, man, Dad Hammer, I'm hyped.
Dad Hammer, I love
dads that already are.
Oh my gosh, it's great.
Well, so tell us just a little bit about. I know I've kind of drooled on the mic in previous episodes about Lorehammer and you guys, but. Just give us an intro of who you are, the classic who is your daddy, and what does he do?
I guess my guy who got me involved into 40K oh so long ago was actually a pastor I had. Took me to a games workshop and I got into the Lord of the Rings minis, and it was right when the movies came out. So my first buy was right when the Fellowship came out.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like 13 or something. So
Perfect timing.
yeah, that was a long time ago. Now I'm 34, starting my own family, and gonna indoctrinate them like that pastor did to me. So
Sweet.
Good times.
Yeah, tell us about Lorehammer and tell us about your podcasting and why you're so amazing, because I've been a fan for years now. So for those who don't know, we'll say.
Yeah, okay. Well, I started Lorehammer probably 7 or 8 years ago at this point, and it was me and 4 of the guys originally. It was me, Jordan, Eric, and we had Christian as well when we first started. And, we recorded a couple episodes, but the timing of it was awkward, so we kind of readdressed it, dumped those episodes, forced Christian out. You can't make time, out of here. But it comes full circle again. Now he's full time on the show, so it's all good. But we basically wanted to make a podcast about lore, because there wasn't really one out there at the time that was kind of big, long 3-hour episodes. I'm at work for 8-10 hours a day. I need something to listen to. So that was kind of the goal, something to fill the hole there.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get into the nitty gritty of the story and history of Lorehammer, but that's where you are now, because you started it back up.
Yeah. Just started that up a couple months ago, so I've been super excited, hyped.
What else do you play besides 40K? Are you into anything else? Like, we've all talked about other game systems and stuff that we're into. You mentioned Lord of the Rings minis, but I know that kind of was a segue, right?
Yeah, we could say I've dabbled in so many 40 or Games Workshop games, but they don't count. We'll lump them all together.
Okay.
Closest thing would be Risk would be the next closest board game.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And then I do love D&D or any type of Pathfinder, any type of that is also what really draws me. But no, I don't do any of the bolt action or any of that Conflict 97 or whatever. I think it's all awesome. I'll pick up any mini and fondle it. But man, I picked up
I need an adult with that.
I picked up Warhammer at that right age, and literally my brain pathway was just Warhammer, and now here I am. And that's all I got in me.
So what about Magic the Gathering or any of the card games and stuff?
I've tried it, but it just, like I said, man, I just was perfect timing and became obsessed.
Yeah.
And it just was you pick up another thing, you try a game, you're like, this is fun, sure, but it ain't 40K.
It's not your language. Yeah.
No.
Now, let me ask you, you said you've dabbled in all the different versions of iterations of their Games Workshop box product, right? They have their little one-off products like
Kill Teams
and Warcry and all that. Do you specifically just stay in the 40K lane for the most part? Or do you play some of these other smaller, I play Kill Team or I play Necromunda or whatever they may be?
I definitely will stick to the 40K universe. I'm not AOS guy in any sense of the word.
Okay.
I liked fantasy, and I'm glad they're bringing it back, but I'll dip in the lore, but not the models of that. But I've kind of just stuck mostly to 40K. Man, like I said, it's been an obsession. People used to make fun of me, but now I'm the one laughing at them.
Yeah, exactly. So. You've made a life out of I get to have fun. I get to do what I'm into.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, man. No, I feel incredibly lucky that I've been honored that privilege.
So do you? I have so much to ask you just on hey, you've made this part of your career. This is a huge part of your career, right? But do you still enjoy playing the game? Do you just model? Games Workshop has their collect, paint, play, or collect, build, paint, play is their 4-step thing, right?
Yeah.
The collect, I think, is just inherent in any of the rest of the steps. I like building. I specifically enjoy building and kit bashing. I kit bash some rad shit. And I wish I had some cooler stuff to show you because I'm working on an orc tank right now. But I find that I don't play the game well. And it's not because I came up on Magic. I'm bad at Warhammer. I like pushing models across the table. I love rolling dice. I think that
you like seeing them clink around.
Everything.
Sure,
no, but I love seeing painted models on the table, but I can't. The amount of frustrating salt moments because I can't fucking stand the game system. I'm wondering.
Even right now, you're standing up and yelling at us.
But I want to. The models are so cool. but I can't find, like, my brain just doesn't speak to it. Do you find that you don't play the different iterations like Sigmar or Kill Team or whatever because they don't speak to your brain the same way? Or is it just like they're just not as good?
Yeah, it just I feel like I've played with so many people. So part of, you said you like building. I like the building too.
Yeah.
The thing that I think you missed is community.
Yeah.
To me, that's the number one thing. You know, all that stuff's meaningless if I'm not doing it with somebody. If I can't tell somebody my story, if I can't show them the paint job, you know, it's all meaningless nonsense.
Sure. Yeah.
So for me, it's like, you know, you play 40K because you can get the most people to play 40K. That means the most people. So, you know, community first, and then I love the building. And at that point, if you do 40K, you have your kill team built in there anyhow.
Right.
You know, you can kind of dabble. You got your Space Marine army, so of course now you're going to build their fleet in space. You know,
Sure.
It just kind of all spirals out of control very quickly into the plastic crack addiction.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I love that point, Mike, of the idea, and you guys talking about that community thing, right? Because I'll be honest, I'm not that good of a 40K player. Either,
I'm horrible at it. But I agree.
And I play Sigmar, shockingly enough. Sorry, I know might be the one of the few people here that do, but I'm not that great at that either. But when I come into play, whether I'm playing the Star Wars a card game or a board game or a tabletop game, it's coming in and shooting the breeze with the people, looking at the models they've painted, going, dude, that looks awesome. Going like, that's great. How did you do that? Putting them on the table.
What inspired you to paint your guy like that?
Right, exactly. Like this. What did you do?
I can get to know you so well on what you kind of got up to. It's a fun way to get to know somebody for us kind of like basement dwellers, man. Like it's such an easy way to just bond with somebody and kind of get to know them. I love it.
Exactly. And so the game's going to be like, I'm going to hang out with somebody for, okay, when you play me, it's like 20 hours. Like I'm a slow guy. So for 3 hours, you're going to hang out. You're going to talk with somebody. You're going to share some stories. My plastic guys are going to pew-pew. Your plastic guys are going to pew-pew. And hopefully in that time we, you know, like have a good time. Tell a story. I love that idea of like, oh my God, after the battle, you can hang out and pop open a Coke and be like, dude, you remember the time like I beat the heck out of your tank with my guys? Oh, yeah. I literally fist punched your tank. and he's like, yeah, I hate you now. And you're like, oh, it's terrible. But then your orcs came in and just smashed right through me. And it was like the post-game stories where you're like, oh God, you light your cigarette and you're like, oh guys, that war was terrible. Oh man, that was 3 hours.
Let's do it again next week.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Can we do it again next week? Exactly. You know, that's the part that I love is hanging out with people.
In mid-game, like we had Waldo and Adam playing today, and Phil, they were doing 2v1 because they were practicing for Double Trouble. It was like the last hour of their game. Every 20 minutes, Waldo was screaming. It was like, oh!
Yeah, the rolls
like
were
the rolls. And you can tell when those moments happen because it is audible.
It's right. Oh, yeah, because the games I play, you're like, all right, I got to roll a 6 or whatever. And I'm like, I'm never going to roll it. And that one time you do, you're like,
core moment, core memory unlocked.
Mark, when you play, do you play at a game store or do you have a space at your house that you play and invite the guys over? Like, what's it work for you?
Yeah, like, you know, since I've been doing it 25 years, there's been many spaces, whether it's my mom's basement, like right now I'm back in my mom's house, or the, you know, friend's house, but it's typically been more of the outside of the hobby store gamer.
Okay.
Typically more of the garage gamer style.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think that's something we haven't really talked about much. We're so focused on, we're a game store. This is where we play. Yeah. That's something to maybe not for tonight, but just like, there's a lot of garages, there's a lot of living rooms, a lot of basements, there's a lot of people, not in Phoenix, but there's a lot.
Okay, not in our
it's
reality.
Similar, but it's different for sure. It's
like, I think I was previously saying I had campaigns in my house. I had 2 tables. Just that was it. It was like 4 of us playing on 2 tables. And then when you have this, and I'm staring at 9 tables that are all beautifully terrained, like if you have that, why not utilize that?
Right.
You know what I mean? But other folks don't have that. And I think that's where the creativity and the charm comes in too.
Yeah, I think even like the quick way to distinguish it would just be level of intimacy. Because like you said, you got 9 tables where before you only had the 2.
Yeah.
So like those 4 people around that table, man, they become your best buds. You have some of the 5 people you're around, and you get to know them like really, really good.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it's like that would be the big thing in my mind is just that level of intimacy.
Yeah. And then just quickly, like, since you're back in Canada right now because you're waiting on the birth of your child, but
as he should.
Yes,
Let's be, right?
which may happen in the next few hours.
Don't rush it.
Yeah. Honey, quit pushing.
I feel like this is a Matchbox 20 song. This is a Matchbox 20 song about that. Anyways, but in going back, I'll use home in parentheses to Panama, which is where you live majority of the year, or just live in general. Do you have places to play? Do you have folks to play with?
No, like I live, in Panama, in a tourist area, but like in the middle of nowhere. I live on an island that's boat access only, and I live like 20 minutes out of town.
That's
so
your
like
dream.
Yeah, man. Like I'll send you some Airbnb links to my property. So I'm out in the middle of nowhere, so there's no one that kind of is around.
Yeah.
The other hurdle is I don't speak Spanish very well, and I definitely don't speak Warhammer Spanish. So it's like,
You don't speak High Gothic Espanol?
Right? You don't need to speak words. You just show up with your mini and be like, pew pew. And the other guy goes,
I love it.
pew pew.
¿Dónde está el DACA?
Right. Daka daka. See, we pew pew.
Quiero más daca.
It's not good, but it's fine. Like I still hobby. Like I've been, like we were saying, like I'm a builder. So, and then my first one was that community, and thankfully I have Lorehammer, so I have all the Lorehammer community to get my community to drive. But I still build. Just like I'm working on Lord of the Rings models. I think we'll get into that later. But there's always something to buy and ship down, and you build it and put on your shelf and whatever.
Cool. Well, let's move into our next segment here. So, guys, thank you for being here. Appreciate you, Chris, Mark, Lord Vader. Awesome. Okay, news and upcoming. Well, I want to thank our patrons on Patreon. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show, supporting the shop. The upcoming news is that we are releasing more and more and more exclusive content to you guys. This past week, I dropped a fun Battletech lore segment that was over 30 minutes of Miles, our guest of honor on the previous episode, of him explaining the history and lore of Battletech. And I don't just mean the narrative story. Like, he talks about the IP and it changing companies and the effects that it had in not only gameplay, but story. It was amazing. And this was all spawned off of one question I said, which was like, what is the lore of Battletech? 35 minutes later. And
he's like, hold my beer, guys.
I was like, okay. And then I kind of cut and was like, okay, that's a Patreon exclusive now. Now I need you to give it to me in 2 minutes. So we have that up there on Patreon. Also, we do our continual first of the month. We give you the Funkatronic Rex playlist if you are a paid member. And if you guess who picked what songs, you get a fun little prize. No one has successfully completed this. So the first person to tell us which employee picked which songs off this playlist, boom, get sent a prize. Have not had it yet, so keep trying. 15th, the mid-month, we give you the Funkatronic Rex crossword puzzle. Most, if not all, answers come from episodes within that month or the month previous. So you got to pay attention to know the answers. First person to send in the correct answers gets a prize. We've only had one so far. And
that's
now,
all you need. There should, you don't need one. There could be only one, so it's fine.
A Highlander.
Yeah.
Really. And then now we've got our first fun segment called Rex, which is Funkatronic Rex recommendations. Rex. And so we released our first Rex to paid Patreon members, and it is Rex if you like mechs. So if you like Battletech, the four of us, when it was myself, Lord Vader, Kasner, and Miles, we talk about other IPs, whether it's movies, games, or whatnot, that you might enjoy if you like Battletech, or just big stompy mech robots.
And Court, if I was on the Patreon page right now, what am I typing in to find you?
Oh, thank you. Yes. So you can type in on Patreon as patreon.com/Funkatronic Rex, or search us on Patreon, just Funkatronic Rex. And I believe we pop up. I don't think there's any other Funkatronic.
It's such a cool, unique name.
Yeah.
But, you know, I thought it was a great way to plug you.
Yes,
know?
thank you.
I think Patreon's so important, man. Anyone who does donate, you guys are the real MVPs for real.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Yeah. And
I never want to say thank you while you're saying thank you because I feel like I'm going to step on your words. But I think we all say
thank you.
Yeah, no, for real.
Let's all say on the count of 3, thank you. 1, 2, 3, thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Woo! Yes, and we're going to give all of our
internet lag there.
we're going to give all of our patrons a fun shout out at the end of the episode. So whether you're a new member or you've been supporting the show from the beginning, we're going to give you a fun little shout out. So thank you guys. But we've got 2 paid tiers and we appreciate you. So jump on if you like the show, if you like the shop, you like what we do. Please consider supporting us. We really appreciate it. I also want to shout out our friends at another podcast called Forgotten Tales from Little Room Productions. Good friends of the shop. They gave us a shout out on their podcast and their Instagram as well. So guys, if you are into D&D and want to hear some fun sessions, please go check out Forgotten Tales. You can find them on Spotify and on Apple. I will have links in our show notes. Little Room Productions, they do a fantastic job. Thank you guys for being supporters and being friends of the shop. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, news and upcoming real quick. We have a Catan championship in the store.
Championship.
My God.
Which gets you a qualifying pass to the World Championships for Catan.
Nationals.
There's a
Nationals, which
so
will
this
then
isn't
get
just
you
a
to
store
Worlds.
thing. You get a cool trophy from the store. You go to the
You actually get a walk-on to Nationals if you win this.
Automatic
and that's
invite.
the only way you can get there without then showing up and like playing through tiers.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Maybe silly question, but is this Settlers of Catan or what is this?
Yeah.
Name?
Yes.
Oh, really? Okay,
That's
very
of
cool.
Catan.
So that's been rebranded simply as Catan. It's the same game, as Settlers of Catan, but we have a store championship which gets you a pass to the national championship.
Wow, that's awesome.
Not like your flight and accommodations.
No.
They
give you the ticket.
Ticket only.
Here,
You get
are
to show
allowed
up.
And you even get a room with one of the guys from the Up to you.
That's right. You can choose Kurt, Mike, or myself as a guest in your hotel room.
Exactly.
I'm just going to hit the dry bar.
Declare prizes.
But it is October 5th. We do have signups through our Shopify. So if you go to our website, funkatronicrex.com, if you go into the shop there, it will be there. I'll also link it in our show notes, and we've got it on all over our social media and stuff. But October 5th, it is going to be fun. I've got 32 spots, but now we've been selling a bunch of tickets. So spots are a little bit limited now, but
We're almost to halfway.
we're about halfway. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, and again, we don't do tournaments much in store. And I think there was a little bit of fear of like, ooh, I'm not that good at this game. So what? It's $10 to play a full day of Catan. You might get the national qualifier. Like, you're going to get free promos anyways. So come out and play.
Oh, I'd show up for the promos.
Guarantee you're going to have fun.
You're going to have fun. There's going to be other people that are
And if you
nerds,
don't,
and you're going to feel comfortable.
You can email lorehammerpodcast.com. I'll give you a $10 refund. I
thought you had don't you have to email Christian? Doesn't he take care of all like the...
No, this is a personal
disgruntled
matter.
one?
I personally guarantee if you go and pay $10, you're going to have a great time playing Settlers of Catan.
And we need proof of you having a bad time.
Yeah.
Proof. Got to send it in triplicate to Mark.
Love it.
Picture of a frowny face
Yes.
when you're like sitting there like
Table flip.
I'm wondering how many times in the day we're going to hear somebody make the wood for your sheep comment.
Oh, the trade wood for wood?
I got wood for your sheep.
I got wood for your
Yeah.
sheep. But you got to say it in a Scottish accent.
or
lad.
New Zealand accent. That's
I love the Don Quixote card that if you play that, you just automatically win.
What?
It's an anti-Donna video, but Laurent and I always joke about it. We're like, you trade wood for wood to win the game, and then you have to play the Don Quixote card, and then you just win the game. That's it.
Is this written in crayon yet? Shh, I still win.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's fine.
Oh, all right. Moving forward to hobby highlights. So why don't we kick this off with you, Mark? What's going on in your hobby world? What are you working on? What are you enjoying?
Currently I've just been going hard on some Lord of the Rings minis. I kind of just finished off a huge Dale and Erebor army.
Ooh.
And it was cool because it's my first time. Every model there was 3D printed. And then I maybe had the odd like plastic part that I kit bashed on or whatever. But man, 3D printing, out of control. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. And you're
Agreed.
painting all these and everything? Like full build them, paint them, everything?
I will eventually. So far, they're just at the build phase. In Canada, one of my goals is get some paint while I'm up here. So
Nice.
But like the 3D printing, man, it's crazy. Like the chainmail, it's every link is linked, and you're just like,
Oh, wow.
okay.
Oh no, the
that's insane.
detail
Yep.
of these guys
Yeah,
can
man.
be phenomenal.
It's getting crazy where it's like, yeah, okay, how much time can you put into one of these minis? Because you can do a lot now. Where those
Yep. old
old Lord of the Rings minis, they were due for an update.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just been doing like Easterling. So I finished that little bit of the build, and now I'm doing Easterlings and Harad, just like a little
Nice.
kill team. I don't remember what they call it in Lord of the Rings, but like combat patrol style, small army. But what I'm doing is I'm taking like the Harad bodies and I'm cutting their arms and legs off and tossing Easterling arms on, and I'm making them look more like the guys in the scene when the Mummacules are getting shot at by Faramir's men.
The Southrons,
there's those.
is that what they're...
Well, yeah, they're this weird combination of the Easterlings and Harad
Okay.
because they're wearing both armors, and like it's weird. You kind of see them in that one scene, and if you look at like the Lord of the Rings Easterling models and the Lord of the Rings Harad models, they're very different lines, and they're from very different parts of the world.
Okay.
So I don't know if that was just like a weird movie detail, one of those cool things that gets kind of shown and who cares for 1 second.
Sure.
I'm like obsessed with it is kind of what happened. So,
But with the 3D printed models, I mean, you mentioned that certainly that line is due for an update. And I think they're releasing new models and stuff, but I don't know if they're talking about redoing an entire line. But you're picking out STLs from 3D prints that are like, that's the newer, hotter looking version of what is already existing from GW?
well, I did that, yes, for my Dale and my Erebor, but for these other guys, I loved the current sculpts. Like they've been updating the Easterlings with all their Dragon Warriors, and Forge World's been doing models for them for a little bit. So they got a little better minis, so I was okay with them like that.
Cool. Right on.
Yeah, it's cool. 3D printing is kind of just like, yeah, you pick and choose what you want now and mix and match. That's perfect, man. I don't think I have a single mini that's from one game store. It's like, that's from 10 different fucking shops.
Oh,
That's
that's
cool.
rad. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Kind of a hodgepodge hybrid. Yeah. Sweet. Let's toss it across the table. Lord Vader, what are you doing hobby wise?
I wish I had brought it in. I'm working on yet another orc monstrosity. It started as a Baneblade.
Baneblade.
That's the Imperial or what? Astra Militarum big
the tank.
the big nasty
big
tank.
Skull tank.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's it started as a Baneblade, and between a Baneblade and whatever the orc pig rig, what's that thing called?
Oh.
That you know what I'm talking about, right, Mark? That big orc chariot. That orc chariot thing with the pig, we've kit bashed them together, and it's this big, crazy, counts as whatever big, crazy orc bullshit you need it to count as, because we've magnetized all the different guns. We took all the different guns from that go on the pig rig and just magnetized them all, and there's all these different points, so you can just make whatever orc monstrosity you want. If you want it to be a battle wagon, it's a battle wagon. If you want it to be the pig rig, it's a really big,
It's huge.
modeled to disadvantage pig rig, but it's still a pig rig. And
Cool.
It's really sweet. I like it, but
What kind of base would you put such a thing on?
Baneblades don't even get bases. The big
fair
tanks are just like tanked.
It's bigger than a Land Raider, isn't it?
It's
wider for sure.
dude. And the way we have it modeled, it's the size of your recording contraption here. Like this
It is
a Baneblade's like this, and then we added like another. It's got wings. It goes out
It's
to the side.
about a foot wide
There's
almost.
gun platforms just doing stuff. So it's definitely modeled to disadvantage, but that's how we do.
It reminds me slightly of, remember in The Fifth Element, the gun that Zorg is selling
they're
over?
just
Oh, every single thing comes out of it. It looks like that.
It's that on treads.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Pictures to follow.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Sounds
Chris,
fun.
yeah.
Sounds orky as shit.
I was going to say, isn't everything an orc monstrosity? I mean, isn't that their thing?
They're my favorite easy thing to kit bash. Like,
'cause everything-
take whatever model you didn't glue so well and like are kind of embarrassed by your build, and just take whatever cheap orc kit you don't care to actually build, and start chopping, and you can make such amazing things for orcs. I love it. It's so much fun to there's no reason better for having a bit spin like the store does than for kit bashing orcs, because none of it need to ever be wasted. It's great.
Yeah.
There's no bad decision building orcs.
That's
right?
true.
That's it. Just it all goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of orcs, just real quick and building stuff, Billy, good friend of the shop, he made a choppa. And by that, I mean he cut steel and made a
proper,
weapon,
like, life-size choppa.
Life-size choppa, sharpened, this thing, painted up with the check marks and all that. And like it said, like, get nicked on it or something. Like, this thing was heavy
Get nicked,
metal.
mate. Oh, that's heavy metal.
Yeah,
Mate.
I will put pictures up, but this thing was heavy. And he also built orc terrain
I
right
saw
behind
the
you,
orc
Chris.
terrain.
Yeah, I'll have pictures of that too. Metal. Literally,
That's heavy metal.
Show Mark
Yeah.
here.
That's sweet.
For those
It's
listening at
metal.
home,
Oh yeah, I seen how flashy it was for a second. Oh yeah,
it's like
It's welded. This thing
it just
is
looks like an
solid.
orc barricade.
I'm gonna
looks
Yeah.
like
drop it.
8-inch
Listen to
steel
this.
plate. Oh,
Yeah.
That.
Dunk.
yeah.
You dented the table. Jeez.
Chris, what do you got going on?
Two things, shockingly enough.
Okay.
Right now, my favorite game, I know this is slightly off topic, but it is Marvel Crisis Protocol. The skirmish
you're the Marvel
superhero
guy.
stuff, more of a Marvel guy. Marvel and Star Wars, just rub my gums on it. It's so good. So I'm working on my pile of shame. So I've got Bishop.
Pile of opportunity.
That's
Come
pile
on.
of opportunity. Yes, yes. So I'm working on Bishop. I've painted his skin tone like 3 times, maybe even 4.
Okay.
God's golden brown is not easy to come by,
Well, you
gentlemen.
see, the thing is, just trying to experiment and play, because I haven't hobbied in a while, I'll admit, like getting back to the hobby desk, just because work, life, kids, as you're about to find out, things change. So working on him, and it's the classic 80s blue and yellow gold look.
He's got the cool handkerchief around his neck,
the handkerchief and I think it's the Rob Liefeld, like, I'm just going to put a pocket everywhere. A pocket and pouch. It doesn't do anything. There's a pouch and a pocket on the back of his neck. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell this does.
And he's always losing his gum.
always losing his, bullets and gum. So I'm working on that. I got the blue down great, working on the yellow. So he's looking good, finally. And then the second part is trying to get back into working on my Sigmar stuff, because I'm really excited to play Spearhead.
Yeah,
The
4th edition.
The 4th
Spearhead.
edition Spearhead stuff. So I've got some Lumineth Realm Lords. I got to try to blow the dust off and get I just call them archers, get the archers back in, finish those guys off, and more spearmen and some of the kit bashed heroes.
And
that's-
Spearhead is the Age of Sigmar equivalent to Combat Patrol.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Exactly. So that's, my thing is like, I'm going to work on one mini to get this brush back in my hand, and it happens to be MCP Bishop. I'm like, all right, once I get that guy done, I might I'll try to.
Get that muscle memory going again.
Right, exactly,
Before
exactly.
You dive into AOS. So what do you like about AOS? Like, what drew you to the Lumineth guys?
Well, that's a really good question. I think when I was hanging out here playing Marvel Crisis, it's like, all right, what are you into? Are you into dragons or tanks? And I'm like, I think I'm dragons. Are you into swords or guns? I'm like, swords? Oh, where's this conversation going? I'm liking it. And I was like,
I'm getting nervous.
I looked at Mike. I'm like, I might spend some money. And then the Lumineth box came out, and I'm like,
that army box was
the
rad.
army box looked good. I've always been nebulous about 40K, or not 40K, about Games Workshop stuff. Just because I'm going to say the word mold lines would drive me batty.
fair.
Star Wars Legion didn't really have them because they were the softer plastic.
Yeah.
So I just put them together, whatever, and they were fine, and the details were meh. But I'm always looking at the Games Workshop models going, you guys look so good.
They look so good, right?
They're crisp, man.
They're so
But
clean.
honestly, they're compared to 3D printed. That's the thing. GW's in for a world of hurt if they don't adapt quick.
Exactly. The stores you've seen out there on Etsy, on other platforms, you like, because now I play 40K with some leagues of Votan. Don't laugh at me. And they're like, oh, there's dwarves. You want to do
I'm a
dwarves?
dwarf guy myself. I just downloaded Return to Moria video game, so dwarves for life. Still on my digger.
And I was like, well, I figured I got the elves. I might as well just do dwarves. You know, why? Us humans are everywhere, whatever. Let's do something cool. To go totally off topic. But I agree, 3D printed models, if you have the chance to either buy them or print them yourself, it's kind of amazing. I love 3D printing terrain. I could talk about that for a while.
It's a different thing than what it was 5 years ago.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It will be a different thing in 2 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
for me, the hobby has been just getting paint on a model.
Good.
Like, for the love of goodness gracious, I'm going to paint a model, and then I'm going to...
God bless you, soul.
Right? May the force be with you. Exactly. Then you got to put one foot in front of the other. I'm going to paint another model. Then I'm going to paint another model. And then I got like 40 billion elves to paint.
No, I keep cheating. I just build it and have somebody else paint it for
Right,
me. Like,
right.
You know what? I'm sick of painting.
Yeah.
Well, no, I've kit bashed the hell out of this,
Kid at
guys.
the shop, you're offloading all your minis.
I got like three different friends of the shop that I'm offloading minis to.
Oh, man.
I'm not even
Jeez.
kidding, bro.
Okay.
I don't like I like painting certain things rarely.
And you're good at it when you do it, though.
Like organic, gross Nurgle.
Yeah.
Easy.
So good.
I just still have to actually pick up a paintbrush and do it. And I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But making it, like kit bashing it, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so would that be the next army for you then, Death Guard? Like so orcs, kit bash heaven, Death Guard, maybe green stuff, kit bash heaven.
I have a Nurgle Knight army that I'm still constantly adding more and more knights that I don't need to.
Mark's a big knight aficionado.
Oh, then I'll pull one out of the case right now, and you'll appreciate it.
Are those the knights that you just totally kicked my butt with when I was like,
Yeah.
hey, how do you play 40K?
Yeah,
Mike's like,
I'm going to kill you now.
Because
I'm like,
if you did know how to play 40K, there's like 100,000 different ways to beat my army. My army sucks.
Yeah.
So somebody who actually plays.
But if you don't, man.
here's 24 dice to say hell yeah! It's great.
Just watch the panic set in as he put the knights on the table.
all right. No, he's like, hey,
Beads of
here you go,
sweat.
Chris. Hey, so what's happening? How many models you got? Mike's like, I have 3. And I'm like,
What the fuck
the
you
hell
got
is going
3?
on here? I brought like
Dang, is
30.
it the Emperor?
I got 30 little guys. And he's like, mechs that are like a
Lunch.
foot tall. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, hobby highlight for me then is painting relevant. At least one of them is. So I've been painting Battletech mechs because I'm deep diving in. I'm diving in head first. I love it. And so much so that like I have my 25 Clan Star Adder mechs that I painted up for you, Lord Vader, that I now own. But that's cool and I've got it, but like I want to do something else. So I picked up a heavy heavy command star or something like that box. And I was like, well, what do I don't know. What do I want to paint him up as? The clan one.
Okay.
The clan one. I was like, what do I want to paint him up as? And so I realized, well, I love Liverpool Football Club. I am a huge Liverpool fan for English Premier League soccer, if you guys don't know. And so I was like, you know what?
It's the nerdiest thing I've heard this whole time.
Oh, just wait.
Just wait.
So I was like,
wait.
what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to paint this star of 5 mechs to be like the 2023-24 kit, or
The uniform
if you're
American.
layman.
Jersey.
The
for
jersey,
Americans.
yeah.
Lame.
Of Liverpool. So it's the blood red and whatnot. I have a little like golden yellow for where the actual insignia is on the left side, and then white stripes a little bit. And then I'm going to number each of these based on a player, one of my favorite players on the team, in the squad. So
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, I am very excited. I busted out the airbrush for this. I'm going full on. It looks really cool so far. So I've been painting. I might do I might do the full lineup. We'll see.
You said it's a a gold emblem on the left breast.
Yeah. It's yellow.
That's
It's
yellow. That's fine. That just
What?
sounds like a really good engine hit target.
Right? Right?
I'm all about it, bro. Let's go.
Well, that's why Batman's symbol's yellow. It's like you hit him right here.
Big glowing yellow thing across the field. I'm gonna shoot at that.
We'll see. We will see. Yeah. But now I've got like their new motto for them, which is "You'll never stomp alone." So thank you. But then my last little bit is Arkham Horror, the RPG came out about 2 months ago now, and I ran a learn to play here in shop a few Saturdays ago once this drops, and it was fantastic. We had 2 tables. Big thank you to John for coming out and running another table, and big thanks to the folks who came out and played. I had such a fun time that is a hobby highlight for me. I got to basically GM a four-player table. Like,
That's
it was
great.
fun,
Yeah.
and I got to be creative with like, no, this is how this works, and describe what you're doing. Like, I felt like Hiroko for a moment. It was amazing, and it was so fun that I'm hoping to run another one again. And we finished the first act of the box, and the game is very fun. I think it might fulfill a little bit of the good game, I even hate to say bad rule book title. The rule book needs a touch of work, but again, it's the starter box, and I think
Our
it has
core rule book would probably clarify.
which is coming out. But it was so fun to have like narrative moments in a game. So big hobby highlight for me, and thank you guys for coming out and playing it.
Did the mechanics allow that or encourage that, or was that a group thing?
Yeah, so great question. The starter box rule set is not handholdy almost to a fault, where it like teaches you mechanics as the game goes on. So it's a little bit hard to kind of follow exactly what you're supposed to do. So you are encouraged to make it up, which I like. Excellent. They have key moments of like, no, when a player does this, it triggers this. When someone leaves this house, then this happens. When you find all the evidence you can, go here. But there's a few options, and I think it marketed as like, if you've never played an RPG before, it's very different. But I was allowed a really cool freedom of, I'm going to connect these dots, and why do you know this person? Oh, let's come up with a reason why. Or why would you go to this location? Let's storyboard that a little bit. So I was allowed some creative freedom, and I liked that a lot. It was fun. Yeah,
while still having like the very loose flow of the rules. I like that too. We call that Mark rules where I'm from.
Okay.
Go with it.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
Well, it has a dice pool system, so it's the dynamic pool system, I think
like
they
those
call it.
rules.
So it was
Star Wars has a good RPG on that dice pool, and I really liked how you kind of
Star Wars dice make that role playing game the best role playing game in my opinion.
And we played that Thursday too, because we just started doing the Star Wars RPG. But it's a very fun mechanic. I like it. It's cool.
Yeah.
We're going to see where it goes too. Yeah. Oh, and then just side note, just for fun, tell us just a little bit about, you ran a Tau-based campaign RPG on Lorehammer. It was like 4 episodes, I think.
Yeah, there might have been 5 or 6. I don't quite recall. But it's called Eternal Horizon. And basically the concept was, there's a bunch of Tau on a ship in a Manta missile destroyer during the 4th sphere of expansion. And they got lost in the warp and flung across the galaxy. So it was their goal to get home. It was kind of like a Star Trek Voyager vibe.
Yep.
Just ridiculous.
What rule set and mechanics were you basing that off of?
Man, like I've always just been a garage hammer kind of guy. Then that includes just you and your boys make up whatever ridiculous shit you want because there's no boxes of rules around. So that game was 100% homebrewed and we've done so many RPGs and we have done store ones before, so it's pretty easy to be like, well, we like this dice pool mechanic, so let's include that, and we like this mechanic, so. The rules are kicking around still on Google Drive, but who knows if I could decipher them anymore.
Sure.
Yeah.
Tell a story, roll some dice.
Yeah,
right?
that's what's it.
Yeah.
No, and
Exactly,
it was cool when you
no.
guys were doing that. It was a fun thing, to hear,
Thank you,
especially
thank you.
just it being, because you guys were running. Was it not Dark Imperium? You ran the other 40K RPG for a little bit, the Death Watch one. Was it the Death Watch?
We talked about it, and we've definitely talked about like we've played that many times, so we probably mentioned that we've talked about, but we never actually did one before.
Okay. Yeah.
No.
Anything coming up in the future that you guys might do another one?
Yeah, I've been thinking about doing some type of pirate RPG for sure. Get some freebooters in there, get some Dark Eldar, get some Corsairs. Could be a lot of fun with stuff. I think I'm kind of brainstorming that a little bit. But,
cool,
man. Have you guys utilized ChatGPT for RPGs yet?
Yes.
For game mastering?
What haven't I used it for?
I feel like we use it every day.
So we don't have to sing the machine's praises, but that's good.
Yeah.
If you're aware of it.
Yeah.
Game changer.
Yes,
absolutely.
For sure. Yeah, literally.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm very excited to run it RPG because it will be the first time of me trying to implement ChatGPT into the game mastering side of things, and I think that will really take it to the next level.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I mean, just create that outline of the story that you want to tell, right? You just go, here's a couple of sessions. Here's where I want to hit.
Yeah, and I just find when you're playing, somebody gets hyper fixated on that one loose fucking character that you mentioned. You're like, I never came up with them. Why are you obsessed? So, chatbot's great for generating that guy. What is his personality like? Backstory, just stuff like that. You enter a new town. Give me a little description. Hit me with what the city looks like.
Yeah. Right.
Perfect.
Okay, cruising into our main topic, the story of Lorehammer. I am so excited. I can't believe this feels like a dream come true to me, and I know I'm fanboying over here, but we're going to chat with Mark here about the story of Lorehammer. We've got a bunch of questions we're going to fire off at you, but thank you again for being in the hot seat. So,
yeah, no, oddly enough, I get off to this, so lay your questions on me.
Okay, so first thing, and you touched a little bit on it earlier in the intro, but how did Lorehammer begin? Where was its like inception?
Yeah, basically, man, I was looking for a podcast in 40K. I was at work and I was looking for one, and I never found one, so I had to make it. And I think, it was kind of like, okay, so let's trap some people and let's try talking. Like, I know me and my friends, we laugh together. I'm sure we can get other people to laugh.
Right.
So, you get people in some rooms and you try it out. It seemed to kind of have fun at least. And we didn't quite realize what would happen to Lorehammer when we sat down together the first time, But no, we had a good time and we kind of just kept after it. And I remember when we first started, like, let's do this for a year. Let's sit down. Let's record bi-weekly, talk about 40K for a year. And at the end of it, if I had 100 people listening, like 100 new friends to talk about Warhammer with, I'd be fucking hyped. And yeah, it was a lot bigger than that. So it was pretty wild, completely unexpected.
Yeah, and you guys started in, was it 2018, 2019?
Maybe that sounds about right. You could say 7 years ago.
Yeah.
8 years ago. Yeah.
And it was, from what I gathered, because I started probably listening around episode 50 or 60, something so like midway in it. And It was like, I would work late at night and I was just doing my routes and stuff. And like, you guys were the ones I was listening to. That was it. But it was like, it was so clearly 4 great friends in a garage, or garage, as you pronounce it.
That's fucking wacky Canadian.
Oh, God. All right, eh?
Four of you guys in a garage with like a laptop and a few mics and just sharing your love of 40K.
Yeah. And our love of each other, that's the other thing. Like you said, it like those boys are my best friends. We go back decades, I got into the hobby with them. We went from throwing rocks outside to throwing dice inside, like those are my homies. So it's hard not to have that passion bleed into what you're talking about when you're talking about what you like and you're with people you like. So yeah, it was really fun. We just kind of sat down and got after it.
And how did you guys decide, with the vast lore history of 40K, there's an obvious timeline too, but how did you guys decide what to cover within that first year?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like, I kind of have tried many times, like we all have, to get people into 40K. So, I've had a little, okay, this works. This is relevant information. Like, you can get lost in Space Marines and then not know a single thing about the universe. So, I kind of laid out, what do you actually need to know? Well, you usually have to start at the beginning of the story, And you kind of go from there and just start breaking down like timeline, major factions, and then from there you can break it all down. And also the thing was, I kind of sometimes just followed the muse of it. I'm like, that last episode really inspired me, and now I'm doing these 2 episodes. Sometimes that happens to you too. So
yeah, because you guys went and did the War in Heaven was kind of you had an overview. It was like the War in Heaven, the start, and then it really became like Age of Imperium and just kind of how things progressed throughout mankind and all that. And then you went faction specific, army specific, and even to the point where it was, you had, I think, 2 episodes of minor Xenos races.
4.
Oh, man. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And those are some of my favorite, man. I feel like those were some of the most like, what's out there in the galaxy?
Yeah.
What's actually happening? Like I said, you can get lost in the Imperium and that's cool, but there's so much out there.
Yeah. And what would you say then, looking back on your 100 episodes, before we kind of get into the new Lorehammer stuff, the 100 episodes, what were some highlights for you personally when it comes to topics and your passion?
Yeah.
Because I know Knights is one of them for sure, but what else were you like, yes, I'm so psyched to talk about this?
I feel like it was always unexpected. Like I said, the more you look at 40K, the more you find stuff you like.
Yeah.
So the one thing we kind of did that I really liked that I never quite knew was the Herbarium and Bestiary episodes, where once again, you're just expanding the universe, your world building. And then I feel like I oddly loved every Dark Eldar episode we did. And I'm not a Dark Eldar guy at all. But just when you know how all their soul binds work, all their regeneration, you stack up all these different elements of the arena, they really become quite cool and more than just like BDSM weirdos.
Or there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Okay, let's, no kink shaming here. Nothing wrong with that.
In privacy of your home,
That's right.
Home, do what you want.
Whatever in your
How you
space
roll your dice
basement.
is your business.
That's right.
Man. God damn. Yeah, and like Dark Eldar just always seemed like they're a hidden gem every time. Like,
yes.
I always loved Orc episodes, and you knew they were going to be fun, but the Dark Eldar were just hidden gems, man.
Yeah, when you guys covered the city of Kamara, it was so eye-opening to, like, visually to kind of imagine what that city is. And you guys did a fantastic job of covering, like, the history and why it's important and everything. And even to where I'm very certain I stole the phrase, turn you into a couch, from you guys, because I've mentioned on this podcast, like the Drukhari, they just want to make you into a fucking couch. I'm pretty sure I nicked that from you guys.
Just human couch leather. Jeez Louise.
Fine Corinthian leather.
Yeah, like, exactly. Like, you're like, okay, that's so weird. But then when you learn why they do it, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Perfectly perfect.
Right, perfectly normal, perfectly happy.
Perfectly normal.
That's right.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here, guys.
Yeah. And then you have a certain love for Knights. You were very hyped on Knights in those episodes. So tell us a little bit about your love of all things Imperial Knights.
Yeah, like I kind of got into a hobby as a Tau guy because of mechs, but like I wasn't a weeb, but it wasn't my choice. It was just the only option I had. But so when Knights came out, I was looking at them even way back 20 years ago in Epic Times. They had minis and stuff, and I always wanted some. But when they came out, I'm like, fuck yeah, like I own a suit of armor in real life. I knitted my own chainmail, like fucking Knights in space. Let's rumble. They also have peasants. Like, let's go. There's just so much to
You
it.
can't
So
have
funny.
knights without peasants.
Yes,
I mean,
that's true.
come on now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what makes a
Yeah.
knight. You got a couple peasants lying around. Wait, no.
Yeah.
And I love Knights with like the relationship of the machine spirit and the pilot, and just kind of there's so many metaphors in 40K, even though it's a silly game, but the horse and the rider, and they feel each other, and it's a strong connection. And if you've been around horses, you know that connection. It's different than other animals. So I like that transition and all that. It's very cool. It just catches me, man.
Can you give us a little bit of a lore overview of your homebrewed house?
Yeah, I'll give you an overview and then a little story that just happened about them the other day. So the overview of them is just a planet that was founded during the Great Crusade, they had prosperity. Horus Heresy happens, throws the house into havoc. The big thing about the house is it's set on a planet that has an underground adamantium mine. So there's huge mechanicum forces on it. And basically the dark mechanicum and the mechanicum are warring a secret war under the surface of the planet, while the knights basically are slowly over 10,000 years losing technology. But it creates a lot of heroic moments, knights, because then eventually they get a new shipment, which means a new heroic charge and a heroic moment that's made and a new story. So, as you kind of play, I would write a little new blurb and whatever. But that's kind of the overview. They're just kind of trapped on their planet, doing their thing. Sometimes they leave, but typically they're on their planet just trying to deal with their own war. There's orcs on the planet, whatever.
And what's the name of the house again?
House Aerokiss.
Yeah.
People think I'm clever or think it's from Dune, but it's just my last name spelled backwards. So.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Dig it. Right on.
Yeah. Now the story that happened to them. So I was up in Edmonton city, couple hours away from where I live or I'm staying right now, and they had a event, and Lorehammer had in a booth up there. So we had a banner, and I was talking to people, and I was selling my Warlord Titan off, 3 knights and 2 armigers. And there's a magic event going there too, and this kid never played 40K. He was interested, so he's like, "Hey, look, yeah, I'll definitely buy these. What is your knight and your warlord?" I'm like, $500 and it's yours. So this guy who's never touched fucking Warhammer, they're a noob, walks out of the store with a Warlord Titan, my Warlord Titan, a bunch of my knights, man. He has no idea. He goes home and I bet he Googles like, what the
hell did I just do?
Mm-hmm. Now, you want to talk about getting people addicted, giving them the first hit of plastic crack?
Yeah.
God damn, you give them a Warlord Titan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, man. So that was a fun event, and I'm glad that my house now is going on to live on with other people.
Oh, that's rad, man. Yeah, very cool.
It was a charity event for men's mental health for Canadian veterans called Heads Up Guys. I should say that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
We'll put a link to them in the show notes for sure.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Yeah.
I'll send you some details. But yeah, it was a great event, and support local and also support the game events or whatever you're into. So
yeah. Well, you guys have had a history of hosting a few events and stuff as Lorehammer. You had a tournament as well. Like, can you give us a little bit of an overview of what the involvement is with Lorehammer and the community that you guys serve?
Well, that was the first time we've ever been invited anywhere. So that was kind of a big deal. And that was the first thing that we've ever got involved in that wasn't us. Yeah, we did do a tournament, but we basically just got our garage crew and opened up 10 other spots and then played in the game store,
Yeah.
Like, I've had 50 people in studio recording Lorehammer with me. Like, I can put a couple people in a tournament room. So that was kind of what happened there. But like, yeah, no, we're always a garage crew, man. Like, I feel like the way we've served the community is just by sharing the lore for sure. And then from there, you run wild with it.
Yeah. And going back to the history of Lorehammer itself, did you ever think, you talked about doing 1 year. You guys did 100 episodes. You went from The War in Heaven, and I believe episode 100 was The Emperor.
99.
99 was
yeah,
99 was the, yeah. And I think Space Wolves is near the end on that too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we crammed a couple in there, but it lasted way longer than what we thought. And, we just kept having fun with it. And I think there's a couple of distinct moments I could walk through in the Lorehammer history. Like,
please.
Yeah, I remember, we started and it's fun and you have people in a room. And then, the next big moment is you look at download numbers one time type thing, just randomly like, oh, there's 1 million downloads in there. And that set in. I was like, oh, fuck, okay. And we were, I think it was right around that 1 year mark. So it was like, oh, whoa, that's not normal. So that was a big moment. And me and Eric at that point, because remember, we were like 100 people. And we're like, heck yeah. So that was very encouraging. A couple years later, we got an email. And this was another fun one where it was just like, hey, Spotify wants to work with you. And me and Eric opened this and we're laughing at each other. Like, do they know who the fuck they're talking to?
These are guys we're just guys in a garage.
Yeah.
Like Spotify's like, hey guys.
Do they know we're from Canada?
Right?
And that was a wacky trip too, because that was Spotify contacted us and offered us a Spotify exclusive contract. And I don't think any other 40K podcast can say that. And that was just one of those things where sometimes things have a life of their own. And I didn't reach out to Spotify, and I didn't reach out to advertisers or anything like that to get that first initial million downloads or anything. It was just natural, meant to be kind of feeling like.
Yeah, you guys had lightning in a bottle for sure. Like, again, there was no central podcast or standout podcast for Warhammer lore. And with how, I mean, you know, for sure, all of us here know how heavy and just wide that lore is. You know a little bit about the Horus heresy, you know it happened, and then, you know, Horus was mad at Daddy, and so he'd split and took half and all that. And you know a little bit about the Tyranids and what they're about and stuff, but there's so much, and you guys covered thoroughly so much. And so...
And what's crazy, man, is I feel like we were just getting started. I don't know if, I'm just looking at your notes, if we have why Lorehammer kind of ended. I don't know if that's a good time to tell it now.
Please. Yeah.
But yeah, like, we were going hard, man. So we got a Spotify contract, and after that, we were just, you know, I was able to quit being an electrician. So that was another big moment where me and Eric both kind of quit our day job, and like, holy Patreon bucks are pretty killer.
But you loved being an electrician. You loved it, right? The pee-pee slaps and all that? Right?
Trevor Buzak loved it. Mark Sikora was a tormented soul. But Trevor Buzak gets off to having his clamped down with the electricity, so...
Turn up to 120 this time. Oh, God. Oh, yeah. More Trevor. More.
So we were going hard, man. And then basically me and my wife felt a little just discomforted with Canada. We don't need to get into that, but we decided to move. We basically booked a vacation and then smoked a bowl of weed, and that vacation became a one-way flight.
Let's go.
So,
did you really just like get out and you're just like, we're there? I love this place.
No,
Let's
literally,
stay.
man. It was 6 weeks. So in 6 weeks, our vacation, like, that was the timeline. And I'd sold my house, my cars, I rehomed pets, I closed businesses down, the whole shebang in 6 weeks.
Hats off, sir.
And we got out of there.
Well done.
So that's why Lorehammer actually ended, because all of a sudden I wasn't
you weren't
in Canada
physically in the same place.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, even right now, like, technology is good. It's fun talking. We got a good flow, but there's, like you said, there's lightning in a bottle if you're in a room, man.
Yeah.
There's that flow and that energy. And I think that was a big part of it, where we were feeding off each other. We're just making jokes and feeding off each other's energy while talking 40K.
Yes. God, it's so good.
Well, that's the thing.
So
It's like not to reference this podcast, which I'm awesome, so glad to hang out with you guys. But it sounds like when you get together around a table, you're shooting the, but when people feel like they can come in and hang out in your garage and get a slice of that, get a taste of that, and enjoy the company. Like, I like Mark's got this, and the other guy, and then this guy, Trevor guy shows up every now and then. But it's like, you listen to these guys talk and you go, these are my people.
Yes.
These are my homies. And I want to go down this rabbit hole with them for a little bit. Now, the question I have is, when you started this podcast, were there other 40K podcasts out there? Like, because I look on the line here and I'm like, there's like a couple of podcasts, but there's not like, I want to talk about the nitty and gritty. I want to roll dice and do the math. And I'm like, shut up. Like, don't give me the math.
There was a lot of meta ones.
Right, the meta stuff, but it's
like a couple that I really liked listening to back in the day was Independent Characters. 40K Badcast was also pretty tight. And there's a couple like Table Tactics and stuff like that were fun every now and again. Just if you're working 60 hours in a week, you can fill in a lot of podcasts now.
Right.
So you just kind of go through it. But yeah, there really just wasn't the 40K lore one where, you know, like I said, I'm trying to fill 60 hours a work week. I need Joe Rogan in my ear. I need as much as I can get. So a lot of the thing was too, like, we need to deep dive into episodes. Like, we're talking until we have nothing left to say. Yeah. And that resulted in big 3-hour episodes, sometimes 4-hour episodes. And I think that's also kind of key too, you know?
Yeah.
It's the longer you can spend talking to somebody, the more you get to know them, the more you get in that groove, and then you build that bond. And also you can tell when they start bullshitting you too. And that can be fun.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. You're like, no, man, no, let's back that up. Like you're just yeah, that's total crap right there. But I love the fact that like you got 60 hours if you're hanging out, working a job, electrician, whatever. I want to hang out with, if I can work and hang out with my homies. Mike opened a game store. I can hang out with my people. I love working here, and that gets the time, allows me to spend time with my friends while I'm working, basically.
Yeah, man.
So that, I mean, hats
like
off to you.
humans are social creatures.
Right.
Like it's just that simple.
Right. And we all want to come and hang out at somebody's garage, crap open. Jesus.
I was on the crap in our
neighbor's garage.
Hey.
Drop a tasty deuce
I only do that
No,
in front of my neighbors, I'll tell you what.
that's out in the lawn, guys. Just go out there. No, like crap open, pop open a tasty beverage and talk and hang out.
Yeah.
And again, tell stories, enjoy the stuff so that later on you'll be like, guys, do you remember that joke we did? Like, we rolled a nat 20 and now I got to call you Lord Vader forever or whatever. Or like in your garage, like I love that idea. In Dracula, like that's the podcasts that I listen to, such as the Funkatronic Rex podcast, is that feeling, that vibe of these are my, I can't hang out with my friends right now. I'm not going to talk to them for 40 hours on the phone, but I can listen to them.
That'd be good, man. If I called
super,
Christian my best friend for 40 hours a week.
40 hours. You're at work.
I don't think I have the
wife would be
patience.
questioning
I don't think I can listen to my own kids' voices that long. You know, like, baby, I love you. Be quiet.
Right, enough. But if you got a bunch of guys in the garage hanging out, shooting the breeze, like it's like going down to the bar or wherever and like just letting the sparks fly, letting the whatever out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And letting
like
out some
Chris,
steam.
man, the one thing I like about podcasts too, it's like direct, it's intimate, and it'd be even more intimate if I was there with you. Like we just met an hour ago roughly, and I feel like I already kind of know you, man. I know your story. I know where you kind of came from, regardless of what, I don't know anything about you, but I get you.
Right. Well, the connection that we have when we play these games, like we all come from disparate worlds and backgrounds, but we all go, I like 40K.
Right.
I like Sigmar. I like this cardboard crack that I just like rub on my, like this. Oh, it's so good. When you come here, you're like, I don't care what you're like. I don't care short, tall, big, small, whatever.
Yeah.
I want to play and I want to get angry at the dice.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, oh God, I just like, don't knock my figures off because that's my job. But like that, the idea that we can talk and hang out and make a connection and meet people, which is great.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautifully said,
Well,
Chris.
thank you.
Yeah.
And every now and then I'm going to make fart jokes a little bit, so it's fine.
Well, you guys had such a wonderful cast of...
This is where the boys went off on a crazy tangent about Court's ability to make fart noises with a divot in his chest and much more weirdness about such things. Yes, it will most certainly be on Patreon.
Oh my God. Anyway,
That's awesome.
we were going down this whole of like the plethora of characters, and you guys certainly have had, classic voices of yourself, Eric, Christian, Jordan. You've had some fantastic guests, but just highlighting what Chris has said, like you get the idea and the feel when you listen to Lorehammer that it's four friends who now kind of weirdly become your friends just by listening. Like in 10 episodes in, like I was like, I know these guys.
Yeah.
And you really hit your stride at a certain point with who kind of did what and the fun banter between you and Eric, and then Christian kind of being the funny odd man out, but would throw in gems and Jordan and how he would regulate all you guys in some ways and just pop in. Like it was so wonderful to see that cast of characters kind of form. And did you guys ever have discussions of like, you're really strong in this, like that's your lane, keep going down that way, like, oh, Eric, you love this, that's what you should kind of highlight when you do episodes? Or did it naturally just form like those are your four personalities and that's what you ran with?
Yeah, there's definitely some of that natural and definitely a lot of just the personalities, Eric is a natural speaker. He's the guy who's emceeing your wedding, We all had our strength, and like it was funny, like the reason Jordan was on that show, actually, it wasn't because of 40K, it was because he wanted to actually do some producing and he wanted to do some sound audio stuff because he plays guitar and a bunch of musical instruments, so he was doing some audio stuff too. So like, we had this group of friends and we all had, the thing is we all grew up together, so it didn't matter what we were doing, we kind of all went to this same church or the same school together, and you're kind of stuck with these same 10 guys for a decade going through school essentially. So you just kind of get used to these guys. You know what they're good at. You're kind of getting involved in other people's hobbies because there's only so many people there. So you just enjoy who you have. But also, man, you're the sum of the 5 people you're with. So the more you spend with them, the closer we got. But it is interesting. Like, Lorehammer eventually did become an official business where I paid taxes for a hot second. And like, that was Eric's forte. Again, people have their strengths. You don't want to let me talk to a bank and send out business deals or doing deals with Spotify. Like, that's an Eric type email. So I think you just find what you're good at and hopefully you're happy with what you're good at. And then that's what really works. I'm happy just messaging people. That's where I shine. I respond, or at least try to respond to every message, man.
Yeah.
I don't always, but that's my goal. And that's what makes me happy as well. So I think we all kind of just naturally leaned into what we were good at. You see a hole, you fill it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You all have a certain set of skills.
Yes.
Right.
And none of them are special or elusive, but they're there and they're small and we use them.
Yeah.
Well, what challenges or obstacles did you guys face, if any? I'm sure scheduling is probably tough too with 4 of you guys, but did you guys face anything?
Yeah.
Nothing
Scheduling
major?
was tough, but like, once you kind of get locked in, I was able to draw from a huge group of people. So then scheduling became either somebody cancel, you send off 10 messages and then somebody shows. So, but scheduling is always a constant battle, even nowadays. And especially with families and stuff, it's a thing you got to make a priority for, but I love it. So I do.
Well, and now to kind of bring us full circle, you guys are back. So Lorehammer is back, baby. Yeah. Man. So you guys have...
Don't call it a comeback.
No.
Been here for years.
Yeah. I never left your hearts or mind.
No.
Yeah, basically like I said, we ended quick. So when we left, we crammed like 6 episodes into those 6 weeks, essentially.
I remember that.
And what are the great hits that we're trying to actually hit that we feel like we never did? Because 40K is endless, man. So when we came back, I'm like, where do you pick up? I think that was the big thing of coming back. What episode do you hit it off with? And I think we went hard and went into this old Terra kind of Malkador, following the Emperor. It was a really cool vibe. And it was another one of those times where you lift up this rock in 40K and you're like, holy what's under here? And then it spawned this whole thing. So yeah, we're back and we're having a good time with it. Couple of things that have been different about the show. The show has evolved over the years. You try different things and you try some things and that don't work. So you stop trying that. But the one thing we're doing now is live streams. So every Friday night at 8:30 Central Standard Time, we try to live stream. And it'll be the same episode you're used to, except there's an interactive chat for you and to the side. So we're like, oh yeah, that guy's right. He knows what he's talking about. Or, you guys are engaging in the memes, which I fucking love. And the other cool the other cool kind of concept with this live call-in ability is we can do a call-in at the end too. So people can call in and, hey, what do you think about that episode? And then they can share what they're thinking or even just share 5 minutes about their army, And that's been really cool to be able to talk to people that way too for a quick minute.
Yeah, you guys have been doing some great interaction and when it went live, like I jumped on there and the first thing I said was #1 Trevor Busak fan right here. And I think you commented on it and I was like, oh my God, he shouted it out. But yeah,
man, like it's so fun.
Yeah, you guys have been going a little more nitty gritty and like you said, kind of like pulling up the rock, seeing what's underneath. And so it feels like a lot of the new episodes are really very cool stuff that you would never know just by kind of going, oh, the Warhammer lore, here's the major points. You guys are covering stuff that really fleshes it out in between those kind of moments.
Yeah. Like even we did a Webway episode and we all have a basic understanding of the Webway, but let's really get into it.
Yeah.
And like, even in that episode, the cool thing I can't get out of my mind is like, the Webway is this vast tunnel network. What the fuck's in there?
Yeah.
There could be alien races in there that we don't know about, crazy wild tech. It's such an open world for writing whatever you want and just chucking it in the Webway and hope it rears its ugly head.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
There's definitely, you said there's been like a gritty, grimy direction. I feel that too. Like I'm a 25-year-old 40K guy. I was born in the grim dark of it. And, that's something we try to always just kind of go back to with the setting is like, what was the setting? Like, what did we kind of grow up with? Kind of point it back that way.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite piece of lore? Like, what is your favorite piece of lore as far as all of 40K goes? Like, that story, that moment, that's the shit I love.
Yeah, that's interesting. There's always epic moments where your favorite character dies at the end of the book. Like, we can all say Gavriel Loken, he's cool, There's so many things. You ask me this every day of the week and I'll give you a different answer because there's just that much. And like I said, everywhere, it's just awesome. So yeah, currently, I don't know. My passion is weird webway grittiness. I don't know.
Cool.
Just whatever.
Is there a piece of lore that you disagree with or dislike? You're like, no,
you guys are wrong.
Do that.
They're wrong.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. There's tons of examples of lore that is not handled correctly and it's clearly a money grab.
Primaris Space Marines. I know you're gonna.
Yeah, Primaris Space Marines. I don't know if I want to be like controversial and get
we don't
you
have
guys
to get
in trouble,
into
but it's up to you. It's your call.
I don't know how you'd be getting us in trouble.
I can tell you and get because I know you have a relationship with GW, so I don't want to shit on them. It's kind of my thought.
We're talking about the lore of a make-believe.
Right.
I'm gonna play dice and push plastic toys across the table. If GW really wants to get mad and not have a sense of humor while we shill their product, we can have that conversation, GW, because I'd like to think we have a synergistic.
That case, fucking Primaris. Or female custos. What the fuck is every character either a black woman or just a bossy woman that bosses guardsmen around? What the fuck is GW doing? They haven't written good lore in 8 goddamn years, man, since 8th edition. They've botched everything they've released. So what have they done wrong? Everything since 8th edition. What have they done right? Everything before 8th edition. So it goes back to that, like, man, I'm a gritty 40K fan. This smooth, bland, whatever the fuck they're coming out with now, that's not for me.
I just poked the hornets.
No, I'm actually, bro. You just woke me the fuck up. I'm intrigued. Like, I'm with it. I've dabbled with the 40K universe since I was a kid, and I'm older than you by a decade. So, like, I get it. But I've also never really. 40K was not my first flavor. I never played the game as a kid. I just had cool fucking models. The OG metal Terminators are rad. I like them. They're too small.
Just the 3-piece.
But they're just But those are some of my first models. Is those first Terminators, and I feel you, and I don't think there's anything wrong with saying to a company like, hey man, I don't like the direction you've gone. Battletech is my favorite flavor currently, and Battletech has also had huge periods of bad lore and bad things happened to the game and for the audience because the property was handled improperly. Like I think it is fair to call a spade, and I think it is fair to say GW is doing right numbers wise and doing right by their sharetholders at the expense.
But that makes them enter the pander stage.
It absolutely, and they're at the expense of the audience. Yes.
Yeah, they're like, we can just make money no matter what we
make, no matter what the sculpt looks like, it's going to look better than something that already sold 15 years ago. Why not sell it again? Yeah.
I'm not a huge lore of the 40K. I like the dice and the modeling. Like 60% hobbyist, 30% gamer, and I forget the 10%. But it's, for me, it sounds like a lot of like the comic book stuff.
Yeah,
I read a lot of X-Men stuff. So you have these creative people that come in and have these storylines that might last a year or two or whatever, but that will change, and then the guard will shift. New people come in with different thoughts and ideas, and suddenly you're like, but what was wrong with that guy?
Yeah.
Their ideas, he or she, doesn't matter, but their ideas were cool, but it'll shift, it'll change. Sometimes you're like, this last year of X-Men was horrible. Like, what's not that I'm saying
we're not looking for activism in our hobby. We're just looking to hobby.
Right.
So
yes.
You could probably sum it up like that. The other kind of big thing that GW does and has done in the last little bit, and I'm not a fan of, is 40K's always been a setting. It's not a story.
Oh,
we're
yeah.
not supposed to have all these big characters, man. Like, it's a sandbox that we're supposed to be able to play in.
Right.
And it just seems like, you know, they try to write these cool stories now, and then since they're releasing models, they're afraid to kill off characters. So then every story becomes the exact same story of two titans clash, and one gets heroically injured and one gets mortally wounded, and they both walk away, and it's just it's DW.
Yeah, like the
I'll buy a model.
the reemergence of, or just like the rebirth of all the Primarchs coming back and stuff like that.
Exactly.
To me was a little like, really, we're gonna do all that?
Yeah,
like we're just bringing everybody back.
Like, I loved the mystery of 40K. Like, there's no more mystery left. Like, I don't want to know what every guy is doing every day of the week in every battle. Like, come on, give me some mystery, or give me a character that I can get really attached to, and then he's gone.
And then kill him.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Game of Thrones, man.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, a way to take it away from like the campaign or from the story to being more of like a setting again is campaign books, man. They should be releasing one or special models for that. And at the end, some win, some die, and they might be limited edition. And yeah, it might be expensive, but not anymore with 3D printing. Get with the fucking technology.
Right.
And that way you can tell crazy stories and actually have effects and outcomes of these stories, and then carry on to the next campaign that has nothing to do with the first one. But it's just, they're in this stage of, they're too attached to what they're writing, but at the same time, they don't know what they're writing about anymore. It's very
I would
strange.
say I don't think they care what they're writing about as long as it hits their quota of these are the sales that we expect based on, hey, we know we have X amount of Ultramarines fans out there.
Yeah.
You're writing a story that involves an Ultramarines. You're writing a Marneus Calgar book. We did the math, and we expect you to sell 100,000 units of this book. If you can't, you're fucking doing it wrong. And honestly, I think, like you said, it's pandering. It's playing to the wrong crowd. It's playing to the money as opposed to the hobby. But to be
and it's just sad because 40K is so old. Like, you don't need to do that. Like, we got you, GW. I've had you for 25 fucking years, man. We got you. You don't need to pander.
Yeah, but as a business, they need to sell, like we said, they need to sell product. You know, even if it was just campaign books. Hey, all my old models still work. You might have to rebase them because between editions, we've decided that went from a 32 to a 40. But
never happens.
You know,
Never
you
happens.
can do the work. You can rebase all your shit. All your models still work.
Yeah.
Somehow that old Abaddon metal one is supposed to be the same as this Abaddon that's on like a oval 100 whatever. Like, they have to sell product. They have to stay alive as a business. So I can't begrudge them that. I'm also a business. I get that. You have to sell product. My problem is less, to me, my counter to you would be, yeah, but what do I care about the lore? The lore is secondary to the plastic I have to show. And the plastic is how we really make our money. Yeah, we sell some novels to a slim majority of the greater, because I think more people spend more money. I've seen it in store. We sell a lot more plastic than we do Black Library, and that's not to say the Black Library books aren't good. You know, even the reprints.
Yeah,
I think
so. My rebuttal to that would just be, well, why aren't they playing Conflict 97? Why aren't we playing Bolt Action? Well, it's because of the lore. Yeah, we might not be buying the books, but we're ingesting podcasts. We're listening to YouTube channels. We're talking to our buddies and hearing what they have to say. It is 100% the lore that we're here. And if they keep messing around with it, the people that are here for the lore are not going to be here. Like, you see what they did to Star Wars.
No,
man.
I was just thinking Star Wars.
Child?
I was just thinking Star Wars myself. Like, the counterpoint to me would be Star Wars, but you just pick your era and fuck it. I'm good with the OG Star Wars, and everything 7, 8, 9 doesn't fucking exist. 1, 2, 3, I'm okay with it, but it's not my Star Wars that I really care about.
Right.
You know?
The one thing I like about Star Wars, they have that very defined line of legends and new.
Yes, I agree with
Games
that.
Workshop doesn't have that very distinct line. Like, I could draw it, I'd say 8th edition, The Return of Primarchs is my line. Like, I'm not into that. That's 41K, that's 45K in my opinion. I like 40K. Some people like 30K. You know, it all kind of whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. They're a company, and like, you support them, you don't support them. Either way, they're gonna keep making plastic crack and shoving it down my throat. So
Oh, so
Absolutely.
so good.
Yeah.
More plastic.
Well, lastly, just for the interview portion, because we've got a fun game coming up, but just tell us a little bit about, we've got the return of Lorehammer. What is on the horizon? You talk about doing weekly, every Friday, doing the streaming, but what else is on the horizon for Lorehammer?
The one thing I'm really excited for is actually, it's called Dadhammer, and we don't have an episode out yet, but the concept is, the reason why I brought Lorehammer back is I'm about to be a dad, and I want a spot for my kid to come hobby, and I want him to hear the stories of 40K from me and immortalize it in that way and make sure it's there for my kid. So Dadhammer is kind of like an homage to all of us parents who have children now, a nice way where I'm going to tell your kid a 15-minute bedtime story, and it's going to be family friendly. I promise it's not going to be bad. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be a nice little moral in it. Like the one episode we were looking at a dangerous Xenos cat. And the moral was, don't play with animals if it's not safe. Like, because one guy kind of got hurt. And so you kind of...
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to just tell 15-minute audio dramas where we can put on a silly voice. And, in 6 years, 5 years, hopefully I can show my kid that. And, you guys can show your kid that much sooner, but that's kind of what I'm really excited
I've
for.
tried.
Unless there's princesses on the Warhammer 40K battlefield, I don't think
we can make them.
Can I get them into sisters? Could I get the girls into sisters?
Yeah, I think you can get anyone. It's just a matter of
I've got
of when. Like I said, man,
5-year-old and an 8-year-old need a Dadhammer episode about something princess. Like, you got to aim it towards princesses, or else I got
a fallen
no
princess
cell.
needs to reclaim their throne.
I'm with it.
Yeah, but I think it will be a fun way to even just teach kids just simple little things like that. Like,
right? Don't be a jerk.
Don't bully people unless you're being attacked yourself. Just little things like that where you don't want to be obvious, but also at the same time, I think it's going to be very cute. So
that's great.
The Dadhammer stuff that you guys are going to be doing, is there lore specific moments like you're going to talk about, like, maybe we don't listen to somebody named the Deceiver, and maybe we don't have our people enslaved, from the Catan. Like, are there specific lore moments where you're like, that can parallel to this message?
Yeah, there definitely are. And that was one of the interesting things about trying to write something for, 6-year-old kids, 7-year-old kids while making it 40K is, I can throw in 40K sounding words and stuff, but how do you really give it that 40K vibe? Because as we were saying, it's the grim dark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think, you can do little things like that where Abaddon the Deceiver, we all know what that means. That's a bad guy, Alfarius is a snake for a logo. I think there's something off with him. Just stuff like that. And I think you can be very subtle and sneaky with it.
Yeah.
So
cool, man. Yeah, we look forward to seeing more of what you got going with that.
And may the force be with you by turning them into a geek.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm. May the force, because it didn't happen for me. And
my kid's going to do fine.
My kid was like, Dad, this is so uncool. I'm like, dude, come on. It's awesome. No. I'm like, oh. He's like, no, but I will say he can roll dice like nobody's business.
He has
when he hits 18, we're going to Vegas. We're hitting the craps tables. He's going to put himself through college, and then I'm going to cry as he's like not gaming.
So
not
because he's cooler than us.
You're going to enjoy the box seats at Chase Field.
Right. When he's like doing the jock stuff, and I'm like, where did I go wrong? I love my child.
I will be very consolatory, bro. You did no wrong. He's at Chase Field.
He's at Chase. That's true. He's down there, and I'm on the nice seats. But oh my gosh, yes, more Dadhammer just to listen and spread that. I think that's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, though I hope it. I hope you guys will really like it and appreciate it. So
we're gonna play a fun game tonight, gentlemen.
Go.
So speaking of the grim dark, this game is called In the Pleasant Light of the Far Future. So I've created this since we've got our fun guest here tonight.
In the pleasant light.
In the pleasant light of the far future, war has ended, peace has somehow spread across the galaxy, and Xenos races, humankind, no longer fight or struggle for power. Armies are disbanded, and everyone must find their place in the galaxy. Okay, your task, gentlemen, was to pick 3 named characters from 40K, and you have to tell us what their job is now in this pleasant light of the far future. So look, there's no more war.
No war.
No, what are the orcs doing? What do they did? So, okay, we're going to go around here a little bit. So, my example, just to kick this off, Mortarion. Okay, war has ended. What's Mortarion going to do? You know what? He's going to run his own smoke and vape shop, and he's going to call it Breath Guard. Breathe it in, baby. Yeah. All right. Everybody's got to have their place.
That's right.
Yeah. One hit's all you need.
That's right. 'Cause you'll be dead. That's it.
Yeah.
It only takes one. First one's free, baby. First one's free.
it.
That's right.
Cool. So let's just keep cruising around here a little bit. We can we'll go one at a time, and everybody should have a few. So Mark, what do you got?
You know, I got Gazkel the gardener. I think he can just tend to the spore fields of his future brothers. And I think he'd just make a great gardener, personally.
Well, he's got the
right implements,
claw.
right? Between
Yeah,
claw and
exactly.
he's got like a chainsaw dealy, right? Or
So he can
a
prune?
buzzsaw. Yeah.
And also, like, just dig up weed. Reading's really easy for him. You just, get right in there. Oh, my gosh.
I could see
Yeah,
that.
no, I think that's my number one for sure. That's classic. I think he will make the world a better place. He can feed the galaxy. In fact, I think he's part of the reason why there's no more war. He decided to turn his anger into just feeding the homeless.
Oh, that's great. I love it. Cool. Chris, what do you got?
Well, since I play Votan, unfortunately, or fortunately, as the case may be, I had to write these down because I wouldn't remember them. So, Uthar the Destined is the named character. And I think there's only one right now because they're new.
Sure.
And they haven't put out models. Come on, GW.
Yeah, that line has 8 boxes to it.
8 boxes, and I've got, So Uthar the Destined single-handedly created the biggest second-hand trading shop of the universe.
Okay.
Now, I couldn't remember the one that's named here. Like, there's like a trading thing based in Phoenix, like a second-hand shop.
Like Buffalo Exchange?
Yes. So he created Buffalo Exchange for $40K.
Buffalo Exchange in space.
Buffalo Exchange in space. That's what he did.
Cool. Good.
Yep.
That's nice.
Lord Vader. You've got boxes in
I got boxes because I needed visual reference for
Yes.
myself because I only play Xenos and I don't really care about the characters. This guy, Trajan Valoris, when I think of custodes, I always think of the bike guys, these Virtus Praetors. I imagine every custodes has been issued a Virtus bike, whatever this jet bike looking thing is. All of them, they got out of academy, they got their spear. Here's your jet bike. So I imagine that Trajan Valoris still has his jet bike from coming out of the academy. So he finds himself in this non-warring future, and he knows somebody has to keep the peasants in line. And these hive cities, I imagine, have a justice system akin to the Judge Dredd universe. Yeah! So you've got Trajan Valoris rolling around on his Virtus Praetor bike with all those fucking machine guns. He's got and he is the law. Yeah! All right, he is rolling around as Judge Valoris in Mega City 13.
Right.
On Hive City, who knows, because there's just too many hives. But that is what he's doing in the future.
Dude, I'm so glad that you said that, and I'm so glad I didn't say anything because I was like, oh, yeah, the Judge Dredd looking bikes.
Yeah. Dude, every time I see this, I'm like, God, it's Judge Dredd.
I always go,
Mr. I am the law.
I am the law. I swear I thought you were going to go like down the Chips route. Dun, 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 dun.
He's Punch.
He's Punch. These two guys keeping the law, but keeping it cool.
Oh, that's good. All right. Let's see. What do I got? Okay. Angron. Primarch of the Chaos Faction World Eaters. Look, man, he's still pissed, but he needs to get his rage out somehow. Like, he's got the butcher's nails in. What are you going to do? You're already roided up, man. He's going to open up his own CrossFit gym called World Eaters Weight Room. Crush your limits, not just skulls. Yes! He's going to be a trainer, a personal trainer.
Sign me the fuck up.
You will get
Gold
jacked and
gym in
swole
space.
so quickly. Yes. Oh man, Angron, he's gonna
Yeah,
train
man, the
you.
dumbbells are just skulls filled with molten iron. Love different weights.
Yeah.
Excuse
yeah.
excuse me, Mr. Angron, how much is it? Just pick it up. Just do it now. Just pick it up. Just pick it up.
What's your next one, Mark?
So I've got a different view for the custodies and their jet bikes. And I think, man, they'd make killer Uber Eats drivers. I'm zipping around on their jet bikes. No one could stop them. Pedestrian in the way.
For
Spear.
real.
No one's stopping them. That
Man.
is getting there in 5 minutes or less.
Or less.
Guaranteed.
No matter who tries to stop
Yup.
us.
And it's always contactless. They just stick the spear through. That's it.
What happens if he doesn't get his tip?
Oh,
Then you get
then
the
you
tip.
get the tip.
Oh man.
That's awesome.
I just want to say, like, listeners, if you kit bash and model any of these, please let us know. Like, I would love to see the custodes as Judge Dredd with like an Uber Eats bag on the side or something. Like, I want to see Angron with lifting weights.
Man, in this economy, you need 2 jobs.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, please! Like, we'll do something special for you if you guys send in pictures or just swing by the shop with your kit bashed minis of what's going on in the pleasant light of the far future. Let us know. Oh my gosh, Chris! All right, keep it cruising. What do you got for us?
Right. So the other one the boxes that always get my eye for whatever reason are always Space Wolves. I don't know why.
Ooh, okay.
Weird,
I love Space
weird
Wolves.
barbarian.
Mark loves Space Wolves.
The weird barbarians, guys. So my brief thing is Canis Wolfborn, whose model is Bitchin' Camaro. Again, he's like the big dude on the huge wolf.
Oh, I know who you're talking
right?
about.
Yeah. Like really angry.
Yep.
Because he's apparently always angry.
He's cold.
He's cold. Yeah, who wouldn't be angry? You know. But basically, so I was like, after the war, and he's calmed down. He actually runs a Fenrisian wolf shelter for post-cyber wolf transitions. Oh shit! Oh no! Oh
my gosh! I just spit everywhere.
That
Hang on, I'm
was.
sorry. Oh my
God.
Oh.
Yes, I'm never coming back here.
He's tried drinking
Yeah,
water
I think
before.
you
Really,
just
he
won
has.
podcasting.
The guest of Mediocrity has now just made the bubbly water come out of Court's nose.
So glad I missed the.
Oh my God, that was awesome. Sorry, I saw that and I'm like, that guy. He just loves his puppies. He just wants all the puppies. It's okay, boy. You know, transitioning
You don't
from
have to kill no more.
Yeah. No, we don't want you to be a killer cyber wolf. Just come over and have some kibble. It's fine. Oh my gosh. I love that. Sorry. Now,
That was a literal spit take. Oh, it went in my nose.
all right, I have to say,
Dracula
just a
just gagged on blood.
Oh,
total
gosh.
side note.
That was so good.
in my gaming group that we had forever, I would every session make one of our players shoot out the nose, like without fail. And it was usually one of my friends, Rob. Like this poor bastard would always be sipping, and I'd make a comment, whatever, and it would just Mountain Dew out the nose every time. So, Court, I apologize sincerely. But you're now you're part of my career.
Par
right
for
here.
the course,
That's
really,
it,
for
right?
you.
It's like,
Jeez, thank you. Oh my
so,
gosh.
I'm sorry, but that's awesome.
That was good.
Chris the Snotifier.
Yes, Lord Snotifier. It burns.
What do you got, Lord Vader?
This character that I've seen this model before, but I know nothing about Junith Eruida, the Blazing Heart from Battle Sisters. I don't know what she's about as far as her current lore, but I do know a woman that knows something about presentation.
Yeah, she's got
And
the
she
cool
started,
podium thing.
She started looking through the holovids. She went real back. She went like 38K back into holovids, and she realized, you know, I've kind of got the right color scheme going. I've got a pulpit. We can add some skulls. There's already some skulls down here. I'm putting the band back together. And she's reforming. 38K later, you're looking at the female Marilyn Manson.
Oh,
Yeah. She's on pulpit, ready to rip up
Yes.
the Emperor's words.
Wow. Okay.
Nice,
I like
nice.
it.
It's a good job.
She's
pop
like
star.
She's she's not the Antichrist superstar. She's the anti-emperor superstar.
So her faith has. She's lost her faith then.
She is the
that's
head of the faithless.
She's descended from Madonna. So
If it works for some, I got a big microphone.
That's right.
So you'll listen to every damn word I have to say. And she has gone into a new career.
hey, don't steal my
I
thunder.
mean, it's good
Come
to
on now.
have options.
Oh man! All right.
In the pleasant light of the far future.
Yes.
All right. I've got the G-Man himself, Rabute Gilliman, corporate CEO of Gilliman Enterprises, writing your success. Wait. Writing your success codex. Gilliman takes his organizational skills to the business world, running the most efficient and well-structured mega corporation in the Imperium, complete with daily memos, 5-year business plans, and an entire department dedicated to filing paperwork. PowerPoint presentations have never been this strategic. Boom! He feels like a Tony Robbins almost.
God damn, I love Ultramar.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have you come in on Sunday.
Yeah. That would be great.
Gilliman, please, I have a family.
That'd be great. I need those TPS reports.
PC load letter. What the fuck does that mean?
What is that? He's tapping his power fist on the desk. And just, like, crushing the desk.
No, the power fist is actually just a PowerPoint remote now. He's like, and if you go here, ding, and it's ding. And it's
Oh man! All right, Mark, what do you got?
I think I know what to do with the Tau race
Ooh.
as a whole.
As a whole?
I think as a whole, yeah. I think they're gonna make a great Grox meat replacement since they're like kind of camel people. So instead of eating like these weird lizard cows, we can eat the camel cows of the Tau.
You're feeding the future.
Man,
Yeah.
between Gazkill and the Tau, the greater good demands it as well for the
That's right.
galaxy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The
Oh,
Tau
that's
are literally just back growing themselves to be a new Grox meat substitute. So,
Oh man!
like that.
the Soylent Green of the future.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, I have
Chris,
another
what do you got?
weird question for my fourth one, maybe. I don't know. But my other one was, since I don't know, like, this is a character, I was like, she looks really, really creepy. All right, Jane Czar, who is a...
Oh, the Howling Banshee one?
Yes.
Howling Banshee.
The Howling Banshee.
Primarch? Or what do they call them?
Aldari, I think?
What do they call them for Eldar? Praetors? No.
I just think the model was really cool. But
Phoenix Lords.
Phoenix Lords, thank
after
you.
the wars ended, she looked at the CrossFit guy, was like, I think this could be a good idea.
Yeah.
So she opened up a chain of bar, Pilates, and pole dancing classes next to a vegan bakery.
Wow. Okay.
You know, she's like, I'm gonna put my spear in the ground and I'm gonna make you dance.
Lots of noise complaints coming from the neighbors of that place.
That's
but
right. That's right. I mean, the beat's
Bound to
good.
happen.
You know, that's fine
But
if you don't like it.
Beat is sick.
The beat is sick. That's right.
Cool. All right. I think are you ending this?
So,
Oh.
I don't know what planet in the Imperium would most closely resemble Coruscant, but imagine a Coruscant-like planet in the Imperium.
Okay.
And imagine the scene in, I believe it's episode 2, where Dooku is flying across Coruscant to the slums of Coruscant. And now you come to like, oh, lights are off. There's not a lot of traffic. Like, this part of city just doesn't look inhabited. And like, it's obviously pleasant light of day, so it's not all gross and grimy, but there's not a lot of street traffic. And you find this really nondescript office building, and you walk in this nondescript office building, and it's a massive place. Massive. And right away, instantly, you're struck by just like, this is enough square footage to house like 100 cubicles. And there's all sorts of cables dangling from the ceiling where you can tell there used to be cubicles set up. This was some kind of call center. Like this was a giant telemarketing operation, but you keep walking.
Tech support.
You
Yep.
keep walking towards the back, and you see, okay, there's some kind of like offices back there. Here's the one main room. They've gutted it all. And as you approach the back of the room, you start to hear little clicks and clacks and like just all the electronic noises that you would imagine you'd hear, and then robot voice. And as you get to the back room, you see Belisarius Call, nonetheless. One man show. I mean, this guy has tentacles and little ports connecting everybody. He is telemarketing your future. Belisarius Call is single-handedly robo-dialing all of the Imperium at all times. This man this thing has driven all of us crazy for years. And you're sitting there just absolutely in awe of all of this clickety-clackety beeps and bloops. You hear the fucking robot voice, offering you new car insurance and whatever. And that's when you notice in the back room, there's some other lights going on, and you're like, what the fuck now? And you peer into the back office of the office, and that's where you see the red gobbo just mashing away at an OG Atari-style joystick that happens to be plugged into the brain port for Belisarius Call.
Wow.
So you got the red gobbo ported into Belisarius Call, making millions.
There it is.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Scam of the century.
That was it.
Ready for it.
I think this wasn't much of a game, but that won. I feel like that was kind of the winner there. And I saw it too.
Trying.
That was great.
That was awesome.
Oh, well,
We did it, boys.
We did it,
solved
guys.
all the
Thank
world's
you.
problems.
There it is. So that has been in the pleasant light of the far future. Goodness. Thank you guys for playing those. So I know you did your homework, so I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing your homework. Yes. Well, we are going to be rounding out the episode here. Mark, do you have anything? We've just bombarded you with a ton of questions. Do you happen to have any questions for us? I have maybe a couple final little things, but you were shanghaied into this, and I thank you so much for being willing to give up your precious time, truly, to be part of this. It's a dream, a weird little side dream of mine come true, but do you have any questions for us at all?
Maybe the one thing is, I don't want to sound weird or braggy, but why Lorehammer, man? What's the deal? Why did that happen?
Okay, that's a good question. Now, all eyes are on me. It's weird, but I don't even know how I found Lorehammer, to be honest. I have every episode downloaded on my phone, and I found it at a time in my life that I was working a night shift job. I was working 6:45 p.m. till about 3:30 a.m. And I needed podcast material to listen to. I was getting back into 40K, and I was hanging out at the shop more. I hadn't started working here yet, and I think I literally typed in Warhammer 40K lore, and you guys popped up. Or it was a Reddit thing, and it was highly recommended, but I listened to it, and I listened to it, and I listened to it, and then every night shift was 3 full episodes.
Nice.
Just going through it, and loved it. And I remember, it's so weird. I remember sites, because I was doing property maintenance at the time. I remember the sites for certain episodes. That's when I was hearing that. Yeah. And I remember when you guys said, this is your last episode, I stopped exactly what I was doing and just had a moment of fuck. A little sadness. And so why Lorehammer is because you guys kept me so entertained. And when I wasn't fully into the hobby again, because I'd started when I was 15, when I was getting back into the hobby, it felt like I had the fun, Lorehammer guiding hand of no, let's bring you back. You remember how fun this was. You remember the lore. You guys are into it. And so much of what I feel like what we try and bring here on the Funkatronic Rex podcast has been weirdly inspired by what you guys did. And I took a lot of that and the energy and the fun characters that you guys were and are, and I try and bring that here.
Yeah.
And again, we started this as like, it's 4 dudes who work at a game store talking about the games and the community we love and serve.
Yeah.
And that mirrored so much of what you guys had already done. So is an inspiration. That's why.
Cool, man. Honestly, I'm honored to be in this position. I never thought it would happen. And like, it's weird on both ends. You're like, holy fuck, that's Mark. And I'm like, holy fuck, I'm in a weird position right now.
Yeah.
I'm honored, boys. I truly am honored to kind of lead some of this and kind of be just the voice for this grim dark. So thank you so much for like letting me do that, really.
Cheers. Thanks for being
Yeah.
good at what you do.
Yeah.
I guess I got one more other question for you guys on your podcast. What kind of things do you want to do that is different though, and like expanding? Like, have you feel like you've gotten into your groove maybe, or like I don't know, what's your ambitions? How can you grow and do things, or what's new? You know, what's always the next thing?
I feel like we're still figuring it out. Sorry, I sat down because my legs were finally tired.
Yeah, like you're 13 episodes in. So maybe actually the better question is 13 episodes in, what have you learned so far is fun and not fun, maybe, or worked and not worked?
Yes.
Wow.
I know for myself.
You invited Chris, and that was fun.
No.
but
That was a
also
mistake.
didn't work.
Big mistake.
I know for myself, I've realized I have no problem talking. I like talking. I like talking to people, and this forum is weird to me, but like I like having conversations, and this fills a piece of my life that was lacking in that I need adult conversation that isn't specifically game mechanic oriented. I'm sick of talking about how games work. I'm sick of talking about what's broken or bullshit about games. I'm sick of talking about like the business part of games. Like I'm sick of like all the work conversations, but I still want to have game conversations. You know,
tossing a little dad hammer, tossing a little dash of philosophy every now and again.
Exactly.
Into the games,
like I want to be talking. I like the having real conversations, and I like talking about the industry we exist in. But I've also realized it's hard finding a line. It's hard knowing where your line is for how much you want to give the universe when you're just talking. And
Exposure. And
I never
vulnerability.
realized how private a person I am until I started opening my mouth, and I realized, you know, I took for granted before that people don't really know much about me. And
anonymity.
I like my anonymity, and I like the fact that people don't know shit about me. And at the end of the day, I can kind of, for lack of a better word, retreat to, yeah, but you guys don't really know shit about me. The more I talk on a microphone and offer people shit about me, that's a weird headspace to wrap around, and it's forced me to be a lot more picky, choosy with my words than I am naturally as a human being. I am much more of a pirate than being on a podcast allows me to be comfortably. And also, like, there's a weird, I don't mind being the pirate and the person that I am on a one-on-one when I'm talking to people in front of me.
Yeah. Because
if you want to walk the fuck away from the conversation while I'm still in front of you, well, then you're making it clear that you just want nothing to do with me. It's a lot harder to do in person, but in the ether, when you're just talking to the ether, things are a lot easier to take out of context. You know, things are a lot easier.
It's a weird dance, man.
It is, and it's. I'm a lot. The more we do this, the more I'm realizing where my lines and where my limits of like what I'm willing to talk about, and like who the person I am on a microphone is versus who I am in front of you. I think
that's a good thing though. Like everyone
agree.
needs to like take into account what are their values, what do you actually stand for, what are you willing to say out loud.
I'm very willing to say things out loud in front of you that I'm not willing to say out loud on a microphone, for the notion that the reach on a microphone is going to be a lot longer and is going to come without my facial expressions and without my ability to say, no, you understood
1 hour
me wrong.
we just talked.
Exactly.
The one thing I like about podcasting is, it's that honesty thing that really bleeds through. People got to know us so well in the last little bit here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's that thing where it's like, if you drop something in an hour-long segment, it's funny in the context, but then it could get dicey outside of it real quick.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird forum for exposing yourself, and it's it's a challenge.
Yeah. You're struggling with that. I struggle with that too. It's like, should I made that joke? How much hate mail am I going to get for that fucking comment?
Right.
But also at the same time, I always just remember the internet's not fucking real, and at any moment I could just turn this off and go hang out with my wife.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah. For me, honestly, it's hard to say what works and what doesn't, because truly 13 episodes is a drop in the ocean, I think. You know? I could speak more on my goals. Like, I gave Lord Vader Mike. There it is. I'll owe you that Red Bull for that.
I think that just means I owe you 3 now.
Yeah. Knock that one off. But I came to him with an idea of like, hey, what if we did a podcast? And I think we were very green and naive and definitely didn't know how much work would go into it, but it was a fun idea. And
heck yeah.
Yeah. And it has been a lot of work for all of us, and I love all of it. I truly love all of it. Like, I love editing every episode. I cannot believe, and again, it's weirdly fanboy stupid, like, I get to talk to Mark, who I listened to years and years ago, who you, Eric, Christian, and Jordan made my job easier when I was working a night shift. You made my job more enjoyable when I was doing a job I didn't like. And I'm playing and sharing a game with my friends. Now I work at a game store, which I love. I look forward to going to work every day. And this place has been so special to me. And we say it in almost every episode of how wonderful this place is. So my goal is to bring the love that we have, not only for the games we play, but for each other and people that walk into this place outside that. How do we make Funkatronic Rex expanded into the ears of people who just love games and maybe don't have access to a cool, friendly local game store? And maybe, don't have access to great friends that will text you back and say, yes, man, let's do a 2-year campaign of Lord of the Rings and we will play every Saturday night at your house. Yes.
Get after it.
Yeah.
Here's my number.
Yeah. So
no, I love it, man. Like, I've been on a couple podcasts and you can clearly tell the energy and the laughter that you guys bring. Like, you just want to have fun and make some silly jokes, and that bleeds through. And I can't imagine the energy in your store when you're rolling dice with everyone, man. It must be killer.
Yeah, it's fun, and we get loud.
Speaking of a customer, it is pretty killer.
Yeah.
Like, that's the cool thing I dig about the space, the vibe. It's just, hey, guys, while we're not at our garage, please come to the Funkatronic garage.
Yes.
Roll some dice, hang out, meet some people. It doesn't matter if you become BFFs, but you're going to meet some people that have shared interests. Mm-hmm. We're going to roll some dice. We're going to play with our guys, play with our cards, and, have fun. Take a break from the real world and come in and have fun. And having listened to a couple of your episodes and the other stuff that I listen to, not to sort of repeat myself, but the idea of hanging out with the friends you didn't know you had yet. Oh, right? Wow.
Sure.
Like, when you get together with your guys in the garage and record your episode, like back in the day and or currently, it's like, that idea is like, guys, we're just going to turn on the mic and we're going to shoot the shit for a bit. And hopefully 100 people want to hear it. Oh my gosh, 1,000 people want to hear it. Oh my gosh, 1 million people. What the hell? It just means that other people go, you guys have created a vibe at the microphone or at the game table that other people identify and they go, gosh, that's cool. Like, it reminds me of when I played when I was in high school or in college, or my friends that I might not be able to see right now, but I know when I go back to my hometown, move back to Canada for a little bit, I can get together with them and I can pick right up and hang out with them. And that's, to me, it is gaming is not about the winning and losing, although I don't always like losing, but it's about that connection. It's about hanging out with people, having a good time.
Yeah.
And enjoying each other's company,
man.
right? And if I'm playing Star Wars Unlimited and telling a story, we have an epic moment, man. I know, like a couple weekends ago, we had this moment in the game, and we still talk about it, like today. Like Joshua and I were like, "Oh, dude, that moment! Oh my gosh!" Like that was awesome. We both have this grin on our face. That was so cool. That was so fun.
I
Right?
rolled 1 in 160,000 odds the other day. I rolled 4 nat ones. I rolled 4 botch ones on a 20-sided die 4 times in a row. No gaps. We looked up the odds. It's 1 in 160,000.
Right.
Was the probability of me hitting that. That's the shit I live for in a game.
Right.
I love those ludicrous long odds. I love our D20 game because it's just like, it's just stupid odds. I love it. Like,
and if you're able, and like you're saying, like catching lightning in a bottle, if you're able to get your friends together and if you record it and you talk about it, Metallica calls it the 5th band member. It's like that 5th person. You're not part of the band, but you are part of the band because you're part of the audience.
You're putting the energy in.
You bring us the energy that feeds us, that feeds you, and it's this feedback loop, right? So we're able to hang out and talk about stuff. And somebody out there is going to be like, I love what you guys are talking about.
Sure.
This is awesome. And when you guys had Lorehammer, be like, God, I really want to hear more about these stories. I want to hear more about these guys, these characters, whatever. And these guys are doing a deep dive.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh my God, I love that. God, I want to be there. Now you can be there because we freaking recorded it. And, obviously.
And now we live.
And now we laugh. Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the beautiful thing about this stuff is that connection that we can make personally, to get all weird and hippy dippy about it. But
like I can't wait to show my kid this stuff when he's 18 if he wants, some of the episodes where I'm like, come on, or whatever. Just like, what is he gonna say about such a random, absurd statement that I made as a punk kid in my early youth,
Right.
That's out there. It's just fun. It's just silly, and it's just such a funny thing to do with people, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
Exactly. I mean, we're all social people, man. Humans have been playing games and drawing on the cave walls, and then somebody comes up and peeing on those walls, whatever. But it's like we play games forever.
Yeah.
And that's what brings us bringing us together, whether it's food, family, fun, and games. Like it's intrinsic to us. I think it's as a species, whatever word, but playing games and hanging out, making that connection, right? We all have work. We all have family, but if we can play a game and throw some dice, it's freaking cool.
Yeah.
Right? I love it. I freaking love it.
Before we close this out, I want to thank all of our patrons on Patreon, all of our supporters. Thank you guys so much. This is going to be, a shout out to you guys. I'm going to save this name for last. Thank you, Logan. Thank you, Curtis. Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you, Garrett. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, John. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, New Duavi. And thank you to Generic Name. Which is, I don't know if I'm giving it away, the anonymity here, but that's Hiroko. So thank you guys. Thank you so much, all of our patrons on Patreon. Big ups to you guys. Thank you for supporting the show.
Patreon people.
Yes. And so, Mark, before we say our thank yous to you, where can the folks find you guys on Lorehammer? Where can they connect with you?
Yeah, we're going to be on all podcast platforms. Just check out Lorehammer. We also have a YouTube channel if you want to watch our faces. Patreon if you want to check out the live stream. I also do Lorehammer Listen to Lore, and that's another podcast, and same deal. You can pretty much find it everywhere. And I just share people's short stories or lores for their army. I almost have 200 episodes out. And the final thing I'll shout out is me and my wife. We do a podcast together called Pillow Talk with Mark and B. And we just talk about couple stuff. And, it's just we bond. And we're about to have a kid. So who knows where that's going to go now. We'll see. But it's just a chance for us to connect every week. So that's kind of me.
That's awesome.
Thanks a lot for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it. It's
Mark, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's awesome, dude.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you to Chris. Thank you for being here. Thank you,
Chris,
Lord Vader.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Good job.
Yes, and then preemptive congrats to you, Mark, on becoming a dad.
Welcome to the level
I'm like, do I go out there and there's a baby out there?
Yeah, there's a baby right now.
You should be so lucky.
Right? It's like, hey, honey, what's up? Oh, there's a baby already. Oh, my God. Perfect.
All right, well, I'm going to go back to podcasting then.
All right.
You got this handled. Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate you being here, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for listening to the Funkatronic Rex podcast. You can find more of the funk at funkatronicrex.com, Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. If you'd like to support us and the shop, please join us on Patreon by becoming a patron of the funk. If you're in the Phoenix area, please swing by. Come check us out. We would love to meet you and get a game in. You can also reach us by sending an email to shop@funkatronicrex.com. Stay up, stay true, and don't forget, stay funky.
Now, this is the one thing, I don't know how, I don't know where or when, but suddenly my brother and I, because I have an older brother, we started playing D&D. And there's a picture of me as an 8-year-old DMing my 10-year-old who's older and our neighbor kids, like sitting in this small hallway, and I'm looking at the camera like, what am I doing?
Straight Stranger Things style.
No,
Get
totally.
that picture.
Oh, no, I will find it and put it on the Discord.
Good.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Cool. And from then on, so, it's like, how did we find this? How did we find D&D? I wish I knew.